Okay, so we are live. So I'm going to jump in here. You can see me. Hi, everybody. I'm Warren Flax. This is D Silver, and we are here from Silver Brush Limited in uh, Windsor, New Jersey. So I'm just going to do this a little bit. We have some new technology for you this time. We just spoke to you a couple of weeks ago about brushes specifically for acrylics. Now we're going to be talking about brushes for watercolors. And so for those of you who don't know, Silver Brush Limited was founded about 30 years ago by my mom, Dee Silver. She started this company in the basement of our house, actually, and now we're a global company. I know many of you are watching from all around the world, India, in Asia, South Asia, East Asia, Europe, the United States, Canada, South America. And we'd love to see you in the chat box here today, and we'll interact with you. Today we're going to focus on watercolors. 2 weeks ago, we did a session specifically on brushes for acrylic, mostly heavy-bodied acrylic, and so you can check that out in our Facebook feed. And so I'm going to throw it over to my mom, and she's going to get you going here with watercolor.
Well, welcome everyone. Those of us that are semi-quarantining, and we have to stay home and we have to do the right thing to save everybody. So we're looking for great things to do and some interesting things to do. So I thought I would start these little chats with you so that I can give you some of the information that I've gleaned over the years and talk to you about the brushes that I love so much. But I also want to do some shout outs to the resellers that are out there. We have very dedicated, loyal resellers nationwide, actually all around the world. And I just want to point a couple of them out to you because they're still in business. We want them to stay in business. And your help buying from them would be really very, very important. So one of them is Colorist. I'm going to do two in New Jersey. Colorist is in Red Bank, New Jersey, and he has got curbside pickup, and he's got a fabulous store. I was in there quite a while ago, but it's a great store, and I love it. Carries a lot of our product, and I think everything of ours is on a big sale. So please, if you need something and you're in the Red Bank area, Toms River area, toddle up to Colorist and see if you can pick up from him. And the second one in New Jersey I want to point out is Jerry's Artist Outlet. He's in West Orange, New Jersey, and they actually have some footpath into this store. People can come in a little bit at a time, and he also has curbside pickup. And that's also a fabulous store and great people. And these are the folks that we want to support while we are inside, while we are staying still. And we know that you want to paint. We know that you are looking to buy good brushes, and they carry our products. Another one I wanted to mention was Binders in Atlanta. He's got two stores, and they're working really hard. They've got curbside pickup, and you can give him a call and leave a message for him. Great people, and also a wonderful store and a very nice shopping center. So that's on the East Coast, but as I go along, I'll talk about some other great resellers out there that carry our products. But let me just refresh your memory. Last time I brought up our short-handled bristle-on, and that's for acrylic painting. And then I also talked extensively about Ruby Satin. Ruby Satin's also for acrylic painting. And the Ruby Satin's softer hair than the Bristle-On. Bristle-On can move heavy-bodied acrylics all over any kind of surface, including walls, furniture, and canvas, whatever you have. But today we're going to talk about, and we're going to focus on watercolors. Watercolors are a very popular medium. I see the sales on watercolor products going up and up and up. Oh, you see our mascot that just came in from a walk. And so watercolors have really gone up in popularity and what people are doing at home, and they really are enjoying watercolors a great deal. Well, we have many different series for watercolors, and you may be most familiar with our Black Velvet series. Black Velvet's a marvelous series. It's a combination of a squirrel as well as a synthetic filament that's made specifically for us. It's a unique series. It's a very unusual mixture of hair, and it holds a great deal of moisture. And I'll do some demonstrating with it in a minute. But I wanted to focus on our Black Velvet, but I also wanted to talk about our newly revitalized Golden Natural series. Golden Natural is a combination of synthetic filament and animal hair. And what's really wonderful about it now is that you can actually see the animal hair. Let's see if we can get a close-up on that. Good. That's great. You can even see those black hair in there, and that's the animal hair. And what that does is it gives you a magnificent holding ability. So instead of just letting the moisture flow out of the hair, one thing Golden Natural does is hold the moisture beautifully, just as you saw that. So this is I've just been experimenting with fans today because one of my customers overseas asked for some fan information, and we were showing him how great this fan is and how it works perfectly. Notice it comes right back together, and it doesn't fly all over the place or clump up or anything like that. That's the great thing about the Golden Natural series. Golden Natural, as I said, is a combination of golden tack-on and a natural animal hair. And what it will do is hold color better than any other brush out in the market today. And what I've done also today is I wanted to show you some paintings that were done with these brushes that you can do also. One of the things that Golden Natural will allow you to do is do illustrations. If you're a person that likes to work very much in control and you don't like to have a lot of overflow with the moisture, it's very important for you to know that Golden Natural is the brush for you. So what I did was I took some of the paintings that were done with this brush. It will show you a very, very sharp detail how great it is for this type of painting. And these are some of the things that you can do with Golden Natural. This is by a wonderful artist. His name is Tom Lynch. And Tom is in Silver Brush. We've been working together for a long time. And could you hold it very close up? What I wanted you to see is all the detail you can get with this brush. Let's get that straight. You can look at all that detail you can get with that brush. Isn't that amazing? You can do that with the Golden Natural series. You can get in there, you can do detail galore, and it's amazing some of the different techniques that you can do with a brush that's as complex and different as this one is. This is another one that Tom Lynch did and sent to me. This is also a detailed painting. You notice all the edges and the little specific pieces that are on there? That's because he's able to get that detail with a brush like this one. And as a matter of fact, we're working with Tom right now, and we're developing an extra long, it's called an ultra round brush. And that's this one. And we're going to have this in a very large size for him. And this way you can do extra long lines and long lines.
You said for him, but that'll be available for anyone.
It'll be available for everyone. That's correct. That's correct. So, I did want to show you, let's look at the painting again. I did want to show you some of the detailed work that you can do, and this is specifically with Golden Natural series. Very, very important. Another painting that I want to show you is by another artist. Her name is Sun Warren, and Sun is an extraordinary artist. But what I loved about this is the detail. Obviously, it's a church, a cathedral someplace, and notice all that work that was done. That's all brushstroke, but you need a brush that's going to hold a tremendous amount of color and be able to get in there and give details for every single stroke that they're going to be doing. And you can't do that with just any brush, and you can't do it with a brush that doesn't have the specific combination that Golden Natural does. Look how it does that detail. Isn't that fabulous? Of course, if we all had her talent, I guess we'd be able to give up what we do and go into something else. But I'm lucky enough to know her and know the beautiful work that she does. So Golden Natural is specifically for the artist that needs detail painting. Who else is that? Well, I've also found that people who do botanical painting, if you do botanical painting and you do that detail artwork for flowers and outdoor work, you can see that you need a brush that really does a tremendous amount of detail painting. I got a couple of pieces that I wanted to show you. Notice how detailed this is. And the only brush that, well, I shouldn't say the only brush, but the brush that's going to give you the greatest detail will be our golden natural. Black velvet is used a lot in floral paintings also, and I'll go over that a little bit with you in a little bit.
And we'll talk about the difference between the two as well,
right?
Because that's the big question.
So another artwork that's done, and as I said, illustration is extremely important in artwork and in use for the Golden Natural series. And I thought you'd be interested in seeing this too. This is fashion illustration, and you need a lot of control with that. You don't want fluid popping out all over the place. You want to be able to control that stroke. And you see with these gals, beautiful work that this artist has done, but you need a brush that controls that very much so. Now, this may have been a computer-generated one, but I'd like to believe that at some point this was done by hand in the way that we do with artwork. And then I found this also, and I thought this was amazing. This is also a type of artwork that you can do with Golden Natural. Notice it's very detailed. Notice it's got very, very fine lines and very, very specific openings. It's not like an overall wash or a watercolor or anything like that. This type of painting, you would use the Golden Natural, and that's this brush. This is going to hold its shape forever. It's going to hold a tremendous amount of color, and you will be able to do these paintings that I've been showing you. And if you're the type of person that has difficulty controlling the brush, controlling the amount of moisture that's in the brush, you might be better off with our Golden Natural series. One company who has just placed an order for the Golden Natural series is King's. King's is near Ottawa in Canada. Very loyal customer. They're doing a wonderful job up there. And it's near Ottawa. It's in Carbel, Canada, which is sort of towards Sault Ste. Marie. And they are going to have Golden Natural within the next like 5 to 10 days. But there are a great number of other stores that carry Golden Natural. And an online dealer that's carrying it now is Dick Blick. Hyatt's will be putting it in. So it's going to have great mass distribution, and please take advantage of it. It's a wonderful series.
All right, a couple questions.
Sure.
So first of all, we have some hellos. We have hello from India.
Hello from India.
That is Divik.
Hi.
And Joyce McBriarty says hello.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi, Joyce. Jacqueline Mader is in Switzerland, says hello.
Well, welcome.
Sue Freudenthal is also here.
Hello, Sue.
So, hi, Sue. Sue and Joyce work with us, everybody. Chris Cruz is in Alabama.
Chris Cruz is in
she
Alabama.
Says hello, one of our silver brush educators.
Yes, we love her.
And Chris actually has a great question. She does great work, by the way.
Beautiful work.
And Chris's question is about flowers. So she was asking specifically, which brush do you use for flowers? You were showing some of the floral works, specifically with Golden Natural.
Chris, you could use anything you want because you're so talented. You can make a flower with your elbow. But I really like the angle brushes. I like also the round. What I love about the extra long ultra round that I've just recently introduced is the fact that it's so long. You'll be able to do tendrils and lengths. It's very different than everything else that's out there. I don't know if anybody else has an ultra round like we do, but because of the extra long length, you get a lot of stroke work that you can do. Sorry, I ran out of paint there, and I know that's important. But you'll be able to do these lines forever, and you can use that for all kinds of flowers. I was just showing you this flower here, and you can see where this will adapt itself very, very well for making those long lines in the petals and everything else. Now you want to fill it in maybe with an angle or actually with maybe a filbert. But the reality is that the extra long round, the ultra round, will do beautifully with the stem and all the little areas over there. You need a combination of different brushes. I also like angles because I think angles give you like a break on doing a curve, where it might be a little bit more difficult to get that curve with a round, whereas with an angle, it's just there. It's just an easy stroke for you. All right? Any other questions?
Yes. Susan Toby White's here in Maine, another silver brush educator. Hi, Susan.
How are you?
Isaac was asking about Golden Natural and Black Velvet sales in India.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
we do have sales in India.
Yes.
Of those brushes. We have a great distributor in what city?
AS International.
In Delhi?
Well, he's in New Delhi. But
He's
he
in New
can get
Delhi.
around.
Yes, he's doing a wonderful job for us. We're thrilled to have him. And I believe he has black velvet in, and
Yes.
he also has golden natural in.
Yep.
But I want to talk about somebody else here in the United States, and who else has been a very loyal customer of ours since we started, and that's Azel's Art Supply in the greater Dallas area. They have 9 stores. All 9 stores are open for curbside pickup at this time.
Also, San Antonio, Austin.
San Antonio, Austin, and a lot of different locations. They have 9 locations. And I think, in terms of keeping your dealers in business so that you can go to your local art supply store and find those wonderful brushes of ours, I mean, that's what we have to do. We have to support our local art supply dealer. When I was talking to the owner of Azel's yesterday, he mentioned, he told me to tell you that he's selling a silver brush at 50% off. So there, you can have a great bargain on them too. And if he doesn't have it for you, one thing about Azel's, that they'll get it in for you too. So let me move on because there are a lot of great shapes in the Golden Natural series that I love. And this is a square wash. So the square wash is very, very versatile. Not only does it hold a tremendous amount of color, and you'll see that this is what we use for background painting, smaller areas. I have wide washes in different brushes, certainly in the black velvet. And that's what we would use for this. But the other thing that's really utilitarian is the acrylic handle. Now, the acrylic handle is very interesting because people for many, many years didn't know what you should do with it. But my mentors were the finest brush makers in the world. And they taught me basically what to do. And one of the things you do with this acrylic handle, and I saw Jenny Granberry doing it the other day, and I was thrilled. It really pays off to teach. But you put this in your watercolor paper, and you open it up all around. You know how that's glued all around, except for the one area in the back? That's what this handle is for. You basically open it with the handle. And the second thing you do with the handle is you can scrape and you can burnish. So if you want to take some color off of a surface, you can use this handle with that and nothing will happen to it. Whereas a wood handle, it probably won't do the job that you want it to do, and it might actually affect the paint on the handle. But nothing's going to happen to this. Yes, it is a little more expensive. You're absolutely right if that's what you're thinking. But sometimes you need the extra tool, and that's what this is. This is actually a double tool. So do take advantage of this. As I said, Azel's have them on for 50% off, and I think several other resellers around the country. Remember, our local dealers are what keeps everybody so happy, that they can go to the local art supply store and they can touch the brushes and they can feel them. And that we all know that that's a very important part of brushes themselves. It's that feeling that you get when you purchase them. Am I comfortable with this? Am I going to be able to do the work that I want to do? And that's what artist brushes are for many of us. And I understand that. Sometimes it's an emotional impact. So Golden Natural has been in the line since we started the business in 1990. But I recently did a whole new wardrobe, if you will. So we changed the hair to look and reflect exactly what it is now. Instead of being all golden looking, it's got the dark hair in it, which is actually the animal hair. So you can see the difference. You can see the animal hair as well as the Taklon. And it's a little bit more expensive. It may be $1 or $1.50 more per brush, more expensive. But the feeling that you have in painting, especially with a water-based paint, fluid acrylic, watercolor of any kind, it's really a different feel. And one of the things that's very important for you to know is that when you put the brushes down on the surface, you don't have puddling. And that's because of the different size filaments that are in it. And in the Golden Natural case, it's because it's got all this great animal hair in it too. It will hold up to almost any kind of beading. Use it for fluid acrylics, use it for flow acrylics, use it for heavy-bodied acrylics. It will work just fine. I'm using watercolor today because I'm trying to demonstrate and show you something quickly. But I could also use this for oil color. An artist that's been working with us for many, many years, and she's a great artist, that's Earlene Paget. This is one of her paintings, and she used Golden Natural with oil color. And that's what this is. This is an oil painting. So notice the detail that she has in the flowers up here in the petals. Notice how it works down here. It's a great brush, and it's something that you will have for many, many years. Remember, always take good care of your brushes, clean them, let them rest like on flat on the surface. Don't put them like this to dry, and you will have these brushes for many, many years. I can't recommend that enough to you. But this is, as I said, this is an oil painting. And original is the oil painting, and this is the edges that she shows. And this is something that you might like to do. You look outside your window these days, and you'll see beautiful flowers. It's spring. It's wonderful. At least here where I am in the northern hemisphere, and we're beginning to get the buds for spring. And it's a beautiful time to get outside and start painting. And if you can't go outside, look out your window, and hopefully there's some beautiful flowers there. Now, I would like to talk to you also about some other watercolor brushes that we love. And you know these names. You know the name Black Velvet. Black Velvet's been in the line since we began. It's a brush that is sold throughout the world. It's a very important series. I think if anybody has a splurge or birthday or anniversary and you want to get a present from your family, I think what you should do is go on our website, look at the different Black Velvet brushes that there are, and say, hey, I'd like 2 of these or 1 of these. I know they're a little more expensive. Nothing I can do about that.
On our website, you can find a local distributor.
That's true.
We have a map, and you can put in your zip code or your country and find, who sells it near you.
Where to buy, absolutely. And they're probably sold in an area very close to where you are. And this is a line, and this is a brush series that's just going to keep on painting. And if you go online and you look on YouTube, you'll see probably more than 10,000 YouTube videos with people painting with Black Velvet brushes. They're reviewed online, they're talked about online, and we constantly have folks sending us paintings and pictures of paintings every single day. And this is, as I said, throughout the world. We know that there's folks using us in Egypt, in Israel, in all over India, and Russia, Argentina. So
Mexico.
Black Velvet's very, very unique. The reason is because it's made of squirrel hair and synthetic fiber. The synthetic hair holds a tremendous amount of moisture, but because of the synthetic filament, it goes right back into snapping into its original place. It's a brush that you should be able to have for very many, many years. We know it's more expensive, but we also know that you get what you pay for. And there are a lot of imitations out there. We see our competitors coming out with something every single year, trying to say, this is better than Black Velvet. No, it's not. It's not, because it cannot hold the amount of moisture. It does not come back to its original shape and its original point. And it's something that will keep on working for you for years and years to come. Never, ever, ever, never cut any hair off the tip of your brush. If you find that there's a stray hair, if you find that there's a hair going in a place that you don't like, put in a bit of boiling water and go like this with a clean cloth and get it to go back into its original shape. One of the things that can destroy a brush is when somebody decides to give it a haircut. We recently had somebody do that, and she said there was something wrong with the brush, and it shouldn't have been cut. And it's very difficult for us to control what other people do once they buy it. But let me say it again, do not cut the hair. One of the things that you prize in these brushes, in the Golden Natural, as well as the Black Velvet, as well as any of the brushes that we have, is the tip. The tip is extremely important. One of the things that we want the tip to do is go back into its original shape. If it curls, if it's going like this, put it in boiling hot water. If it hasn't been poured into the wrong material, it'll stretch out and it'll go back into its original shape. Don't ever cut the hair, and don't put it on an abrasive surface at all. Look at your surface. One of the things that wears a brush out very quickly is a very, very rough surface. When somebody says, my brushes are wearing down very quickly, I always say, well, what are you painting on? And 9 times out of 10, they're painting on something with a pebbly surface. They're painting on something with a very, very hard surface like a brick or something like that. We have other brushes, less expensive brushes that we want you to use on that. We have a jumbo brush that's a stiff synthetic filament that you should be using on those surfaces. If you wear it out, it's aggravating, but it's not as aggravating as wearing out a $40 brush. So let's pay attention to what we're painting on and what we're painting with. Remember, no cutting hair on the brushes themselves. There's no haircuts here. It's not going to continue growing. Another brush that we love, this is Black Velvet. This is the Voyage. Now, this was done with Black Velvet. Notice that this is a very, very detailed brush, and it holds a tremendous amount of moisture so that you can get in. Could you bring that a little closer?
Wait.
Okay.
Yeah. Just responding to Jane here in Brazil.
Hello, Jane in Brazil.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, Jane, we can take care of you. We just need to get a little more information from you on that.
Okay.
So yes,
So
let's get into
what I wanted to show you, this is by a gal in Mexico. Notice a beautiful look to that particular painting. She's got a little bit of cactus in it and a hand that comes out of the water. This is a beautiful painting that she painted with Black Velvet brushes. And notice the detail in here and the look of it. You can put a tremendous amount of color in each and every space, but you need the right brush for that. And Black Velvet is doing this for her. Notice the sea over here on the bottom. This is a great painting. And we like to focus on the folks that support us online, and also some really talented individuals out there. This is a gal named Ana Sofia in Mexico. Another artist that we've been working with for many, many years, and I think I mentioned her before, her name is Soon Warren. And Soon uses Black Velvet brushes, and she has for many, many years, for more than 25 years. And I wanted to give you a bird's eye view of some of the beautiful work that she does. Notice the detail in that glass bowl. And she's doing that all with Black Velvet brushes. She's using Black Velvet Voyage and rounds. She also uses the jumbos. She uses the wash brushes for the backgrounds. So there's a lot of variety in brushes in this particular painting. See that background over here? And notice the detail in that flower. Let me see if I can get that over there. Okay. Notice the detail in the flower over here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that is something that you can do with these brushes. They're very unusual because they will hold a tremendous amount of color, and it's something that you can get in your hand and you can have a great painting experience. Okay, something else I wanted to show you is here. Some of the other shapes that we have Black Velvet in, and I thought maybe you'd like to see that. Black Velvet comes in a wide wash. We have that out to a 2-inch, and we also have a square wash, which comes in many sizes, but it also comes out to a 1.5 inch, and it's quite a wide wash, quite a wide brush, and you'll be able to do all kinds of backgrounds with that. Now, if there's something that you specifically want to see me do, I can do it too. But remember, you're the artist, not me. I'm the brush lady. I know a lot about brushes, but I'm certainly not an artist. But I do love them, and I do know that when we talk about them, we're looking at something that's a better quality than the average that's out there. So that's Black Velvet. That's a short little synopsis about Black Velvet.
Question
Sure.
that came in. Carol McCready's asking, what kind of brush do you recommend for painting on rocks?
If it's a smooth rock, you can really use Golden Natural. I love Golden Natural on rocks. I just sent it to my niece up in New York because she's quarantined and she's a school teacher, so she's looking to do a project with her fourth graders. And they're painting rocks. And I sent her a bunch of brushes that will hold a lot of color, but can take a little beating. And I'm using, I sent her Golden Natural and she was thrilled. She really was thrilled. As a matter of fact, she did an Instagram pictures.
What if it's a rougher surface?
If it's a rougher surface, I would recommend something like, you can also use Golden Natural, but I would also use Silver White. Silver White's very interesting because it's a very rugged synthetic filament, and it's like the working man tool. It really is. You just keep on using it and you keep on ticking. And it will have a wear factor after a while, but it's going to hold up a really long time. And this is very priced right for every artist. It really is. So I would definitely recommend the silver white for painting on rocks. Although we have a great deal for painting on
The
rocks.
ruby satin.
Ruby satin is fabulous for painting on rocks. I don't know if you want to spend that kind of money, but this is something that's extremely durable. We have people painting with ruby satin for about 25 years.
The same brush.
The same brush, and it doesn't wear down. Remember, it's the surface that makes a brush wear down, so generally. So ruby satin is going to stand up to a very, very harsh climate. It really will. I would definitely recommend that. Okay, any other questions?
Nope, not on that one.
Well, I did want to show you this painting also, because this one has always mesmerized me. This is another painting by Soon Warren. And as you can see, this is a wrapper. Look at the detail in that brush. So she's gotten this with both Golden Natural and Black Velvet. And notice the detail in this. It's a very difficult painting to, can you see that? There you go. See, isn't that beautiful? It's a unique painting, because who would think to put that in artwork like that? But there you go. So she uses black velvet, she uses the round, and she uses script liners, and she also uses the jumbo mops in the black velvet. And that would be this one here. That would be this one here. And this is, let me see if I can get that over here. We could see that head. So this comes in a small, medium, and large, and this is going to hold a huge amount of fluid. It really is. And that's what she does with a lot of the background. She also uses our background brushes for that, black velvet. I thought this was a particularly great detail painting, because it shows the detail of the entire candy, that the wrapping that it comes in. And it helps you understand what these brushes are capable of doing. You need a little bit of talent, clearly, but some of them just, they do themselves. There's another Tom Lynch. Tom Lynch is a huge fan of Golden Natural. And notice the beauty of this. He does a large background. He has wash brushes for those, and the detail he does. A lot with this, as I said, this ultra round brush with the extra long, fine detail point. See how different that is? I'll show you that one, and this is the round. Notice that this is a shorter round, a shorter length out. But again, it holds a tremendous amount of color. And the reason why he loves them is because of the natural hair that's in it. So you have a combination of golden tack-on and animal hair, and you get a great holding capacity. There's not a lot. There's nothing else like it in the market. It really isn't. So it's a mixed brush. It has two different filaments in it. And these are some of the beautiful, beautiful paintings that have been done with these brushes. We're very proud of it. And it's something that I think that you would benefit from buying and from looking into it.
So why don't we discuss, well, one thing I want to point out to everybody, because we have a number of folks from India, is we mentioned before AS International. Sorry, I'll jump down here.
Okay.
AS International, his website, asmall.in. Silver brush is available there. Also, for those of you in India, check out what Tarun has there on his asmall.in. And then also, let's make sure that you answer the big question that I started out with, which was, you've talked about Golden Natural for watercolors, you've talked about Black Velvet for watercolors. And what's the difference? Well, just in terms of those two. You're going to talk about those
that
quills.
That is a very important question.
Yeah, because otherwise, what would be the difference other than price? And obviously, there is an important difference in terms of the artist's use.
So when you're using black velvet, you're going to hold a tremendous amount of fluid. It's going to hold more fluid than any other brush you've ever held. But the benefit of this is that it's going to snap back to its original shape. I would not recommend this for any kind of illustration, for any kind of detailed work where you must stay, so to speak, inside the lines. It's a lot more difficult with this because it does hold so much fluid. Whereas I showed you the illustrations that were done with Golden Natural, And that's because of the uniqueness of the type of filament this is. You're going to get a lot more control. You're going to get a lot more control in your stroke, and you will be able to stay, as I said, within the lines. So if you have somebody who's, if you are an illustrator and you're doing fashion, if you're doing flowers, if you're doing, any kind of botany or anything like that, or houses or whatever, I would recommend Golden Natural to you and not Black Velvet, because I believe that Golden Natural is going to give you a more satisfying and easier time painting those types of things. If you're painting in control, you really want to use Golden Natural, and it's going to do a fabulous job for you. I would recommend it over 100% golden Taklon. There are a lot of golden Taklons in the market today. Some of them are better than others, but they're never going to give you the kind of control that this mixed brush will give you, that Golden Natural will give you. It's a mix of natural hair and synthetic fiber, and that's why I was showing you all those detailed paintings. You're able to get into those detailed paintings. I've seen aviary, bird paintings, fashion paintings, all kinds of illustrations done with Golden Natural. It's a unique brush, and it's very, very well made. It truly is. Nickel-plated brass ferrule, triple epoxy within the ferrule, a completely redesigned handle. This is the brush that's really going to last, well, they both last forever. You're going to get more paint when you use Black Velvet. And I must say, this is a teacher's best friend. I mean, we have teachers all over the world who are recommending, I only use Black Velvet, I only use Black Velvet. But we got Golden Natural into the hands of some of the silver brush educators, and I got the most wonderful email from England recently where the teacher said, you want number 4, Golden Natural Round. It's the only brush you'll ever need. And truthfully, it may be. I mean, certainly if you want to use it in a small space. But we've got lots of brushes, and they're higher quality than a lot of other brushes that are on the market. I know brushes all look alike when they're in the store, but I can assure you that these are a high quality and they're going to last you that much longer.
So we're 40 minutes into this,
Okay.
and we want to be respectful of people's time.
Yes.
And I think some of the things that we talk about maybe could be in the next session. So maybe we'll do another session in a couple of weeks on the specific shapes. So we have the quills, something like that, so folks can get a little more training without trying to rush it all into the end. So is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up? Did you want to give any more brush care tips? I know you don't really like to do that.
I love to give brush care tips because the better you take care of your brushes, the longer you'll have them. And keep in mind, well, we keep in mind that it's your money, and we know that it's precious, and we don't want to waste your money. I mean, that's very important to me. Some of us, we're just from the Bronx, so we understand, pinching pennies and making our budgets. So yes, these are a little bit more money, but I can tell you that these are going to last you so much longer. And making sure that at the end of the painting session that you clean the brush. I go over to the sink from here and I actually scrub out the brushes at the end of a session so that the paint doesn't stay in them, they don't get hard, they don't get sticky. And I make sure they're drying flat or they're drying with the head down. Why is that important? Because if you put the brushes like this to dry, the moisture is bound to go into the ferrule and start cracking the paint on the top of the handle. And none of us want that. We don't want you to have it. We don't want you to have the aggravation. We want you to have a great painting experience every time. So when you're done, you can either lay it down like this, or in the best of both worlds, try and get it so that the head is sort of at an angle like that. Last week we showed you the ashtray routine where I put the one hand up and you put the brush on the other side and the brushes lay with the head down. That's very important. Cleaning them, cleaning them, cleaning them, cleaning them. That's what you want to do after every single session. We have people, I gave out these brushes when we first started. It had no information on them at all. It had no number on them. And I'm talking about ruby satin and golden natural as well as black velvet. We have people that are still using these brushes 20, 25 years later. So it's important for you to know that if you take good care of them, they're going to last you a lifetime. When I was a manufacturer's rep way back in a different era, I used to go into artist studios almost every day. And one of the things that people always said is, I've had this brush for 20 years, I've had this brush for 25 years, and it's my go-to brush. I love to make my mark with this particular brush. And that's very, very important to me. I know that that's what you want to do, and you want to have it be comfortable when you're using a brush. So it's important for you to decide what kind of medium are you going to be using it in, what are you going to be doing it with, what kind of surface, and be kind to your brush. At the end of a session, after you're finished painting, clean it. Clean it well. I love the Masters brush cleaner now. They've changed it and they've made it into a wonderful brush cleaner. And I also use some ivory liquid to clean out watercolor because it's a gentle and it's non-detergent and it's very, very gentle. I love that. And these brushes will last me for all eternity. I'll be able to put them in my will for my grandchildren, for your granddaughter, for your daughter. But it's really important that cleaning them is really the big deal. If you get a little bit of stain on it, like you can see, maybe you can see it on this brush, you get a little bit of stain. If I put a little bit of just rubbing alcohol, that will come out in almost every case. If you're putting the brushes in oil color, these brushes will react very well to oil color. You can paint with them with oil color. Make sure you clean with an odorless solvent. Odorless solvents can be bought in any art supply store. Only buy these products in artist supply stores. Don't go to any of the big box stores because that is a recipe for disaster. Usually they have a heavy turpentine base in it and it'll melt the filaments. And so it's very, very harsh on the brushes. Go to your favorite art supply stores. There's lots of folks in your neighborhood that would be happy to work with you and give you curbside pickup as well as online. We work with all the online folks as well. And thank you very much for coming today. We appreciate your time. I think we're there.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah.
And
why don't we do this again in 2 weeks?
If you'd like me to come back, I'd be glad to. Let's hear from you and let me know that you want me to come back and bore you about brushes because I could talk about them every single day, all the days of my life. And you always come up with something else to talk about. Also, if you're interested in one specific type of painting or one specific type of media, please let me know that as well. I typically don't demonstrate with oil color because that becomes kind of messy to clean up with. But I do have fluid acrylics here, and I have heavy-bodied acrylics here, thanks to Golden. And I'll be glad to demonstrate them for you. We have a number of different brushes that work very well with the heavy-bodied acrylic, as well as open and several other brush type paint that they have. So let me know, and I'll be glad to do that for you. Next time, we're going to talk a little bit more about watercolors, and we're going to demonstrate our quill brushes. We have 3 different kinds of quill brushes. One of them I'm missing right now. But we have a squirrel blend and a mix, and then we have 100% Taklon, and then we have a goat hair. And goat hair is very interesting. It's a white goat hair, which I don't see right here right now, because you can put it in all media. You can put it in watercolor, you can put it in acrylics, you can put it in oil color, in watercolor, and it'll behave very, very well because it's natural hair. Where we get things ticklish is when we use synthetic in oil color, and then we must clean up with an odorless solvent that you buy at an art supply store. So we'll talk about quills next time, and we'll talk about some other series as well.
Yeah, I think we'll do fluid acrylics as well.
Fluid acrylics is great.
Very popular.
It's a very popular series. Acrylics are very, very popular today. We love them here. There's some great acrylics on the market. All over the world. I've seen some great things. I saw some great things when I was in Australia a couple of years ago, as well as in Asia. There's some great new acrylics out there that are just exciting to work with, and I love the colors, the vibrancy of the colors. So we've got the brushes for you, and it's a very exciting time in the artist brush business because there's some really extraordinary quality brushes that should last you many, 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 many years. And we're very proud to be able to produce those brushes for you and make sure that you have a wonderful painting experience. Thank you very much for coming today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
And stay well and stay healthy and don't let yourself get sick.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.